everyone, and welcome back to Nerdverse Toy Reviews. Today we are going to be taking a look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Swamp Thing figure. This figure is massive. He is so cool, and I cannot wait to get it unboxed and in my hands and taking a look at it with you guys. But before we do, I would love and appreciate, as this channel is growing, if you could take a second to blast that subscribe button and smash that like button. It really goes a long way for me and for this channel. If you do this, I can keep making videos. I would really appreciate that, guys. So let's take a look at this beautiful big figure. And I mean, if you guys follow any of Todd McFarlane's work, he's always there. In one of his interviews, he said anytime you can get your hands on one of these big meaty figures, these big plastic full detailed figures, to do it. And that's what I obviously had to. I'm also a huge Swamp Thing fan. Love me some Alec Holland. Can't wait to get this thing unboxed. So let's go ahead and take a look at the box before I go ahead and pull them out of the packaging. For starters, you do have the standard on this side, you have the standard DC Multiverse logo. From there, you have the Swamp Thing DC Rebirth logo as well. And then you have the McFarlane Toys logo down at the bottom. On the back, let's get that in focused. You have an awesome dark Swamp Thing, picture of Swamp Thing coming up out of the swamp. Wonderful. Below you can see some of the other figures from the line that you could pick up. I personally think that the Demon Etrigan is an awesome figure. I'm excited to see how he complements this Swamp Thing figure. From there, you've got the social medias as well of McFarlane. Go ahead and follow them if you haven't already. They put out a lot of fun content. A lot of times they'll have Todd announcing these figures, and he does a wonderful job of just kind of hyping up the releases. I've always been a fan. So from there, let's go ahead and take a look at the front. Again, he is awesome. Cannot wait to get him unboxed. We've got the 12+ logo in the upper right hand corner, and then down below it's very simple, very black, very chic DC Multiverse Swamp Thing. Love it. I'm gonna go ahead and get it unboxed, guys, and I will be right back. Alrighty, guys, I have him out of his plastic cage, and he looks fantastic. But before we jump into the actual figure, I just want to show you some of the other things he came with. He also came with the standard DC Multiverse card, where you've got a nice picture on the front. That's actually the same picture as the back of the box. On the back, you've got a data file, that's what they call it. Comes with some information of the figure. Let me go ahead and get that in focus here. Really cool data file, kind of gives you some background information on Swamp Thing, aka Alec Holland. Really cool feature. Really dig this. Awesome card art. I know some people aren't fans of the cards. I do. I enjoy them. I think they're fun. On top of that, you do have an alternate hand. I will go ahead and get that plugged in a second here. And then you have the standard DC Multiverse Stand. I wanted to show you guys, just for starters, that he does stand on his own. I know that's always a concern with some of these bigger figures, but he holds his weight decently. It took me a minute to get him in that pose, and I think that as I display him on a shelf, I think I will probably be using a stand, if not two, one from another DC Multiverse figure, just to make sure he's not falling over and either damaging himself or any of my other figures. But man, I am so happy with this. So let's go ahead and take a look at his face here. Let me pull him in close, get that in focus. And I don't know about you guys, but that is amazing. The detail of the plants, the vines, just the greenery coming up around his face, around his mouth, and then into his teeth. Each of his teeth is like slightly individually detailed. He is incredible. Let's flip him around so you can see the back of his head as well. Same thing. The detailing does not stop. It is amazing. It's down his back, flowers, different floral arrangements, whatever you want to call it. It is awesome. His chest, same thing. Shoulders, it is just beautiful. And it hides the articulation points really, really well. Some people might look at this and be like, hey, how much articulation does he have? And he is stacked with articulation. So let's go ahead. I'm going to back him up just a little bit. We're going to cover a little bit of his articulation. I think they call these butterfly joints, where it's got the back and forth a little bit. Or maybe it's not that with these multiverse figures, but he has the double pivot so his shoulder can come forward a little bit. If I can get it, there we go. Kind of comes back and forth, but then he has a full range of motion. Comes up to there. It's about as high as it goes there in the shoulder, but then he can go a full 360. I'm not going to force it, but yeah, he goes back and forward. There is a little bit of grind on the plastic, as you may have noticed if you collect previous DC Multiverse figure releases. From there, he does have, I think he's got a bicep swivel, upper bicep. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't, so I'm not going to force it. But he does have a swivel there along with the elbow joint, which is great. And then his hand does have that wrist swivel and articulation there. From there, he has another shoulder joint that matches, elbow, and then another hand. Now, like I said before, the hands can be swapped out. I'm going to go ahead and swap out the right hand for this more sword-like hand. Let's take a look at how that looks. And man, does that look cool. He's ready to go ahead and impale some of the DC Rogues Gallery. Looks way cool. From there in the chest, you do have a chest joint. Right there, it is really stiff on mine, so I don't want to force it until I can get it in some hot water. I don't want to break anything. But you do have more of the standard. Let me go ahead and back him up a little bit further. Some of the standard hip joints of a DC Multiverse figure. And then at the knee, so let me go ahead and show you the full range here. Goes up that far, goes back to there, and that's about it. You could force it to get it back further if you really needed to. I don't see why you would, but that's how it kind of looks. It does have a double knee joint, so 1 and 2. So he can kick himself in the butt there. And then from there, he does have that ankle ball joint. Let me go ahead and get that in focus. That a lot of the DC Multiverse figures have come accustomed of using. I'm not a big fan of these ball jointed ankles. I think that there's other ways to do it, but from other brands of figures that I've seen. But I ain't complaining, because this figure is incredible. He does have a slight articulation in his feet as well. Don't want to miss that, where the toes flip up and flip back down. So he is loaded with articulation. By no means is he a statue of a figure. I think he's awesome. Now, before we go ahead and close up here, I want to show you just the size of this figure. So I'm going to go ahead and put him back here. And I'm going to pull out Etrigan the Demon, who I said, if you want to get your Justice League Dark on, he is going to look great side by side with Swamp Thing. But this is a 7-inch figure that I've got here. A big, beefy one, too, in Etrigan. And look how much bigger this Swamp Thing is than Etrigan the Demon. Amazing figure. Amazing figure. I can't believe that 2022 is already off to this big of a splash in terms of figures that I've received. Loving Swamp Thing. Can't wait to see what McFarlane and DC Multiverse have for us next. Alrighty guys, but before I go, thank you so much for viewing this video. Feel free to subscribe or like this video. I'd really appreciate it. This channel is young. Feel free to leave any comments below if there's any other figures you would like me to take a look at, or any other toy lines that you think I should be reviewing frequently. So I would love to see it, love to hear your guys' comments, and I'd love to interact below. So alrighty, talk to you guys later.